welcome back to East Coast DNA. Today we have a special treat, a New Brunswick-based artist that's been spending a lot of time in Nova Scotia lately. You may have heard her songs on the radio, or perhaps, like myself, noticed a stream of new music videos coming out on YouTube over the last few months. Today we welcome Apryll Aileen. Welcome, Apryll, to East Coast DNA. First outside episode for my apartment talk. I'm not technically in my apartment this time.
It's way too beautiful for us to stay inside. We both agreed.
Yeah, it's too stuffy to be sitting with the curtains closed and LED lights and everything else. So
Can you hear the water trickle?
look at that. Beautiful.
It's amazing.
Speaking of water, the intro that people saw to this video, you haven't seen it yet, but I had it prepared while I was waiting for you to come over.
Oh, awesome.
So it actually is a water theme, this episode. I'll let you see it later.
Amazing. See, I just...
Ties in with your music video for Catch Me.
Yes.
So I did mention in the intro here as well that I've noticed the last while, like at least... It's been months, but maybe it's been longer, that I've noticed you've been doing a lot of premieres for music videos. So as a YouTube content creator, I'm on YouTube a lot. So I see all the notifications. You've been quite busy pumping out music videos.
And shorts now, too.
Yes. So this is all promotion for your latest album, which I did just grab the CD from you last night, your performance.
Thank you.
But that's not out yet as a digital release? How does that work for people that are watching the music videos and they want to go out and listen to the full album?
So the full album technically has about as of yesterday, seven singles that have been released digitally. They're all on Spotify. There's, Easy Love, Home, Catch Me. See if I can remember them all. Wasted on Your Love. I don't know if I can. Wicked Ways that I just released. Fall with Grace, and I'm missing one. But then I've got two more, and then in July I'll release one more single in the whole album. Then it will be out. But I do have physical copies of the album, and so one of the things I like doing is sort of getting the different songs and creating video content and something artistic to go along with them and tell the story. And so just released that video that we did in Austin, Texas. And then June 11th, once I fly back to the East Coast, I'll be filming the next music video for the July release and filming another one tomorrow for a different song that's not on the album. So it's, you get the sun coming out and you have to get outside and create art.
So you had one album before that, which I admitted I wasn't as familiar with, but in listening to it, since I picked it up from you, I did notice the radio edit that you had at the end, that it was familiar to me, so I would have probably heard that on the radio at the time.
Yeah.
For the new releases, was Easy Love the first single that you had out there?
I think Home might have been the first single from this album. Yeah, I think it would have been Home. I'm still trying to think of the one that I'm missing. It's so funny. Oh, Bad Things.
Oh, yes.
The title of the album.
Yes.
A little tired. It's been a long few weeks of touring.
Bad Things, I don't remember the video for, but I do remember you doing Instagram shorts for it. But were those from a video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So that would have been all sort of the neon lights. We were in the club and kind of with the DJ, and that was really fun. I produced that one at the Five and Dime in St. John, New Brunswick.
Yes.
So that was really fun to make. But that's so funny. That's the title of the album. But yeah. So, but Home was the first one, and it's interesting to, you hope that you would have the time, money, and planning preparation to say, here's all the songs, here's the theme of the album, this is what I want to do, a year in advance and even 2 years in advance, and have your release dates and everything planned out. And although I say this is going to be the year I do that, it never happens. So you're continually catching up with yourself, got this song, got this one. And then, but I'm really excited to finally have the album available fully in July. So there are physical copies that I've had at my shows, which people can buy. And if you're interested, just send me a DM and I can, we'll figure that out and I can mail it to you or come to a show. July 17th.
And how are
Shoebox.
supplies on the physical copy doing then? Because, like you said, you've been releasing them as singles, so I was aware of you originally from radio.
Yeah.
And then once I was following you, it was more so the videos. But
Yeah.
you definitely had some success off the singles that were out already because you were getting lots of play. And when I watched your set last night, you probably noticed I was singing along with a couple songs.
It was awesome.
So,
We knew a lot of the songs, which was great.
So lyrically, for the genre, and we always end up bringing genre up when we do these interviews, but nobody really fits into one genre anymore. But for your newer stuff, it's more of club type beats, I guess, like it's dancier songs. But maybe with the exception of the Bad Thing song, lyrically, they're more like traditional singer-songwriter type lyrics, or probably lending to your piano background.
Yeah.
The lyrics are a little different than what I'm used to from other songs that would be in that genre. Now, you're not alone in that. There's a few East Coast musicians that I'd probably put in that same category. Like when I first heard Laura Ray, she had a dancey song that was out. And I mean, now that I know her more of the singer-songwriter playing guitar. And like Kinley, a lot of people would be familiar with Kinley. Like there's a few of you out there that are doing that type of music that are maybe putting a little bit. It must be you're writing the lyrics yourselves based off of either experience or anecdotes from people that you know or things that you've witnessed. So is that something that you do first? Do you write lyrics out, or are you concentrating on getting something that's catchy, that you dance a lot when you're on stage? So is it something that you need to feel and then you write the lyrics for it?
It's interesting you say that. I would say the majority of the songs on the album, I could feel the melodies and the chords and the words first and built them around piano, and then, worked with the producer to get the bass and the beat and really bring that up to life. Fall with Grace, actually, I just remembered that there was a completely different version of that song that was way more slow motion, very like retro throwback, Celine Dion vibes. And we turned that song completely upside down and made it very, dancing through the heartbreak, but still all the same lyrics, but switched the arrangement and everything to... And I kind of still miss the original one. I might release it. It had won a song competition down in LA, and I never released that version. So it came on actually yesterday when I was doing some vocal warm-ups on my way to the Shoebox. And I laughed because I was like, I forgot about that version. That was actually a really well done version. I think Bad Things was a co-write, and we were in California. My friend was sitting there just like had this riff on the guitar, and he was vibing out. And what was funny is that he had met this girl named Susan, and she's from New York and was a songwriter. And he's like, if you end up meeting this girl, let me know because she's awesome. We should all work together. And literally, like, I look at him, I go, oh, this Susan? And I had just met her the day before at this conference in LA, and she had seen me at the hotel cafe and came up and was like, I'd love to do a song together. And so, like, it was a really serendipitous encounter. And then the three of us wrote that song. And we weren't sure, if we were going to try to pitch that to somebody else, but I ended up loving the song so much that I was like, no, I'm going to run with this and add it to my album. So I think a lot of the time for me, I grew up on Alanis Morissette and the Spice Girls, and a mix of that really awesome, empowering pop, but a little bit alternative too, but very lyrically meaning, like, introspective or having a meaning to it. Or even the Spice Girls was fun. It was catchy at the same time, but it was poignant and relevant. And so I think this album was a little bit. Some of the songs are singer-songwritery, but then having that more dance or like upbeat element. And we'll see moving forward where I go from here. I'm not sure. It's really fun being able to create just on the piano, but also to get away from the piano and go into stuff that I can't just naturally create from a piano. So
yeah. So do you ever play? I've only seen you live the once.
Yes, last night.
Do you ever perform like with a full band behind you? Because there's a lot of instrumentation in the songs. So have you done that full? Is that just like a showcase thing, or you've done bigger performances out there?
I lived in California for a little while, and I was really lucky. I became good friends with Toshi Inagi, who's the guitarist on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Yeah.
So he teamed up, him and the bass player from Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Earl. They, found me this amazing drummer, Max, and the three of, all of us played a few shows. We played down on Muscle Beach, which was really cool, and I think I did some shows in Venice, and then under the Venice sign. But I had a band in St. John for a while too. I'm from New Brunswick originally.
Yes.
And that was going really well, and then the pandemic hit, and we kind of all had to pause on live music, and I just, turned to live streaming and doing solo stuff. And now that the whole show is built around the in-ears and Ableton and whatnot, I've been talking to some musicians about getting together and making it a full band show. So I think by August, September, I'll have something together again with a full band here, maybe in Halifax, likely Halifax, and then hopefully something in New Brunswick too. So
awesome. And now, speaking of that, where you're primarily known as a New Brunswick-based artist, I mentioned in the intro that you've been spending a lot of time in Nova Scotia as well. So you're kind of almost a dual citizen at this point.
Yeah.
So
straddling the Bay of Fundy.
Are you pretty much going to be based out of the Halifax area as far as the future, or are you just going to keep straddling back and forth between the two provinces for a while?
I don't really know. I think we'll see what makes the most sense. You kind of, go where the support and the fans and the business is, so wherever that might be in the world, I realistically have to go. And I have a lot of friends and family in Halifax area, and it's been awesome. So, but I love New Brunswick. New Brunswick will always be my home. So we'll see. I don't know.
And you're heading to PEI, so this is a really good fit for an East Coast podcast. You're getting almost all of them.
I know. The only one I want to go to Newfoundland so bad. I have yet to go to Newfoundland, so maybe next year at ECMAs. But yeah, so I go to PEI tomorrow. We're going to film a music video. Again, I get Benjamin Edwards is coming over. Maya Davies is helping me out with some of the styling for the video. Kinley's actually lending me some attire because I've been running around shopping trying to figure out these concepts for the wardrobe. And anyway, Maya's with Kinley now, and she's like, "Don't worry, Kinley's got this and this." Sent me photos. I got them when I was driving home last night, from the show. I was like, "Yes, we're set up. We're good to go." So PEI for the Canadian Songwriting Challenge, and so that'll start Monday and full on for the whole week. Really excited. Everybody that has done it says that they love it. So I'm paired up with Carlton Stone and Trinity Bradshaw.
Wow.
And we're going to make some music.
That's awesome. I didn't know about Carlton or Kinley, so that's awesome. Nice tie-ins that they've both been mentioned. And you can mention to Kinley that she's on my hit list.
Kinley!
We were going to hook up the ECMAs and it just didn't happen, so I'll be talking to her soon.
And she's got the open mic on Wednesday in Charlottetown as well. So
yeah, if anyone's over there, I've watched some of the clips that they put online from it, and that's one thing I do want to talk to her about because there seems to be a lot of artists flowing through there too. So that's pretty exciting.
There's a lot. I think one of the things I've noticed, just broadening and looking at the Atlantic region as a whole, there's so many talented, and I say this to everybody. It's funny. You go to New York and California and these big beautiful cities. And I love everywhere I go and, get these romantic connections and never want to leave. I wish I could split myself into multiple, universes, parallel universes, and live in all the places all at once. But until that can happen, maybe quantum physics will figure it out. Elon's working on it. Yeah. But until then, I always say this when I go abroad and I see people, there's a lot of musicians and artists that have the business on point, have the show on point, have all the glitz and the glam and the perfect styling and, everything kind of plotted out. But the actual talent, that just raw, awesome growing up with music ability, there's nothing like it from the East Coast of Canada. And,
it's everywhere. We're bleeding it at this point. It's always been here, but I do feel like the last few years, the resurgence as people start to come out of lockdowns, that it's even more vibrant than it ever has been. Everybody's doing something in all of the communities. You don't have to go to Halifax just because it's the main city of the province. any town has plenty of live shows, and I don't know of any that are not having live shows. If anybody watching this knows of some poor community in Nova Scotia that doesn't have tons of live music, write the podcast. I want to know where that is.
Yeah, please.
We'll send people your way.
Send them a memo. Excuse me, you need more live music in your local town.
And as I mentioned, the beginning of this episode had a little thematic intro. I had a clip from Catch Me On It. So, yes.
Not really the brand. I was running from the United States Navy.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you about that because you mentioned it briefly about your video shoot. You had a little incident while you were out at sea.
It was amazing. We were on this beautiful catamaran, which is for sale, by the way. I wish I could buy it, but it's not mine. But I like to pretend that it is. And so we wanted to get close to the U.S. It's the Gerald R. Ford. It's the largest aircraft carrier of its series. It's the largest in the world, really. And it was its maiden voyage, and it stopped in Halifax from Virginia. It was its first stop, and then it went over towards Dartmouth, over to England, and there were, all parts of NATO, France. I might say this wrong. I'm not sure which other countries were involved, but they all kind of followed over on this voyage and were a part of it. And so while it was stationed out by McNabb's Island, we just conveniently decided to have our music video filming that day. And I wanted to get as close as I could. I wanted to get on the ship, and I almost did, but that's another story, and that's pending. So in future, I will have the option to get on, but I got to, make a trip to do that. So anyway, it's part of my spy mission. I can't tell you everything about that side of my life.
Sworn to secrecy.
Totally. However, yeah, it was really funny. We're filming the music video. I'm dressed in kind of crossover from James Bond to Bond girl, and I'm at the edge of the bow, and the USS Navy, with their guns and everything all set up, they come, blazing over, and they're just like, "What are you doing?" And they're saying the name of the boat. They're like, "Do not come any closer. Turn 20 degrees towards port side, and do not advance." And I was just like, "Do we keep filming?" And my friend's like, "Keep filming. Don't move." I'm like, "What if we get oh God, what if we get arrested?" But it was okay. So they were fine. And then eventually I think they realized that we weren't a threat, and it was all good. But, I have a lot of family background in the military and Navy, and I do take that stuff seriously. And, my dad was just like, "Don't you be silly. This is a matter of national security. Don't mess around." And I'm like, "Dad, I'm a spy."
Music videos always kind of lend itself to that guerrilla style filming anyway. But it was a surprise when you mentioned it, because that video in particular, I didn't even know that was filmed in Halifax.
Not many people do.
It was shot very well because it looks like it's just out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. Good job.
An unknown location.
And you just had, I guess, as of us recording this, it was just a day ago, but by the time people are watching this, it may have been a week or two ago. You just had was it Wicked Ways that you just had out?
Yeah, Wicked Ways.
So that's your latest video, but you're doing another one tomorrow. What would you like people to hear when we get to the end of this episode? Was Wicked Ways the current single? Does that make the most sense?
Yeah, let's do Wicked Ways.
Yeah, so
that's on the album.
We'll play out with that.
Yep.
And you're coming back to Glasgow in July. You mentioned briefly there. It's Shoebox. What's the date again?
Monday, July 17th.
Perfect. So Monday nights, for anyone that doesn't know, Shoebox has Music Mondays. It's more of a listening room experience. You can still talk, but usually more stripped down performances and a lot of solo artists. But it's a great opportunity to get out if you're in the area, and it's a Monday evening. There's no reason to not stop down. I think it's just by donation only, so you can go on down and get yourself a nice cold beverage. They have alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So
yeah, they have some great non-alcoholic beer there.
Yeah, I had a 0 Budweiser last night, but I also had my daughter will go with me sometimes for the Monday nights. So I got hooked on this lemonade thing that's down there. It's just sugar. It's pure sugar, but I had one of those last night too, just to keep me moving. So yeah, anybody that's around for the area, definitely pop down to catch that show. And that'll be yourself. Who else will be playing that night?
It's Lynn. I'm not sure what
Lynn
her
from
last
our
name
Pector
is.
County Lynn?
Yes.
Lynn DeCoste. Perfect. That's awesome. Shout out to Lynn.
I just met her briefly, and yeah, we both are going to be on the piano, and it's going to be really fun. So you should come out and see two strong women share their heart, raw, passionate, emotional. It'll be good. Lots of good stories.
Lots of keyboards and lots of high notes.
Yep. Yeah.
And
low ones too.
Lynn's another person that's been mentioned a few times because she's local, so she's been referenced a few times. But Lynn's not been on the podcast yet, so Lynn, give me a call. And going forward after that, you'll have, just after your performance back here again, your album will be available like for streaming everywhere.
It will probably be released like the Friday before, officially online on the 15th. 16th, 17th, wait, on the 14th. Yeah, July 14th. And then, yeah, I'll be promoting that, and that will be available online everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, YouTube. YouTube's sort of one of my favorite places to go these days, just because I really like the creative aspect of video with audio. That was sort of what got me into music, was writing for film and to picture. Okay. Or what not got me into music, but what made me decide to do it as a career. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, I could actually make some money. And it was, an ability to really showcase a story and tell a story in a multifaceted way. It wasn't just the music, it was pairing and that. And I love the full encompassing ability to really tell a story and bring people into that experience. And so that was, reading a script to me and being able to write a song that's personal to that is number one. And I hope I get to do that more in life. But yeah, music was in my family, studying as a classical pianist back in the day and whatnot. But I should mention that was so. But YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. Apryll, Apryll,
yes.
Aileen, Aileen. So it's a little confusing on the spelling, but once you put it in, you're good to go. Apryll with a Y and 2 L's.
And in anywhere, is there any other tour dates, like not just in Glasgow, but do you have any other concerts or performances coming up? Or you're so busy with the content and releasing the album that you just don't have time in the schedule?
I've been trying to cut back on certain shows. I know I'm doing Mercantile Social, will be my June 15th, Thursday night. I think it's June 15th in Halifax. I'm going to do the Mercantile Social, and then Barrington Steakhouse in Halifax on Saturday, June 17th. And then July 1st for Canada Day, I go to the town of Riverview in New Brunswick, outside Moncton, to do a big Canada Day festivities. And then July 4th, I'm at the town of Quispamsis. And then July 7th, I go to Windsor, Nova Scotia at Bent Ridge Winery.
Awesome.
And so I play at that winery. They're doing a Friday night music series, which will be really lovely. And then after that, so that's not far from Wolfville. I'm still getting used to all the W's in Nova Scotia. I get so confused. I'm like, Wolfville, Windsor, Wentworth. I'm like, I don't know where anyone is.
There's
like,
Westville just right beside us here, too.
It's too many.
Plenty of them.
I like my direction challenge with all these W's. I'm like, and then I know August, I'm back in the town of Rossay August 3rd, and then I do August 18th at the Halifax Casino.
Wow, so you are plenty busy on top of the
I'm trying not to. I mean, there's other dates too in there with like some gigs in Halifax area, and a couple in New Brunswick, and we'll see what else comes of it from there. So I'm just kind of trying to get the music out. And
where should people watching this follow you online to keep up to date with everything? Instagram, I know you're on there quite a bit.
Instagram, I mean, I'm on all the platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, but I would say I love Instagram the most. My website, apryllaileen.com, APRYLLAILEEN.com. There's a newsletter, though, too, so that's the best way to connect with me. I think there's a form right on the website, and if you want to know about upcoming shows and all that good stuff, that's the easiest. Otherwise, Instagram, is kind of my number one, and then from there, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
And subscribe to YouTube. You're on YouTube right now.
Yeah, so. And of course, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notifications on all premieres that people post and all that good stuff, because it really helps us. And share, And, of course, Spotify, Apple Music, follow, heart, add to playlists. Listen to songs for more than 30 seconds of any artist you know, or else it doesn't count as a stream. And if you skip a song, it hurts our metrics.
And for
I hate saying that, by the way.
For anyone watching the content on our channel, now that we put the chapters in them, You can skip through the chapters and it helps too. Even if you're not going to watch the full half hour.
That's good to know.
That's why I put like little key points in the conversation. You can skip to the music and everything. That adds up to 30 seconds really quick.
So it doesn't help when you have somebody that's easily distracted and like, I'm like, jumping over. Keywords. This part is this. Should have told me that in advance, Darcy.
Oh, yes, exactly. And one more thing I definitely wanted to ask you about, but I know that you can't really talk much about it because I'm making assumptions and forecasting beyond August. So with you kind of being back and forth between the provinces, you, correct me if I'm wrong, you technically qualify as a Nova Scotia artist. So we will be having some type of presence at Music Week in Yarmouth this year. So I am assuming that you're going to be down there as well.
Yes, I will be there.
So we will have a follow-up interview leading up to Music Week or at Music Week. So April will be back this fall to tell you all about the success of her new album on all the streaming platforms and your new video. So everybody look forward to that. And
awesome.
We're going to play out with Wicked Ways. And everybody go out there and click subscribe and listen along.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Darcy.
All right. Thank you for accommodating the schedule and the location change. It's a beautiful day, and I think we both have drives ahead of us, so it was nice to get some fresh air.
Yeah, I needed to just get outside and be in nature and,
absolutely
before the clock starts again, and it's work, but it's fun. You get to do what you love, so
absolutely.
Can't complain.
All right. Thanks again,
and
we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All the blood on my hands and still on my mind. If I could, then I would turn back time. Oh, my words are digging me deeper. Digging me deeper, deeper, deeper. Forgive my darkness, forgive my shadow, forgive my wicked ways, forgive my anger, forgive my ill will, forgive my wicked ways, my wicked. Should have turned my cheek. Grieve my pain. I'll return the favor, walk in my shoes. I'll return the favor.